Good evening to all, dear participants. First of all, on the behalf of Faculty of Law Integral University Lucknow and Law Teachers India, I extend our wishes to all of you on the auspicious occasion of 79th Independence Day. Today is the fifth day of our 15-day FDP, and the resource person among us is Madam Akanksha Prakash. Today, she will throw light on the topic risk assessment, dangerousness, and AI in the Indian justice system. Madam Prakash is a legal professional with an LLM in access to justice from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai, and BA from Army Institute of Law, Mohali. She specializes in law, policy research, and capacity building with experience in teaching, academic content creation, and delivering training session on contemporary legal issues such as AI ethics, justice system reforms, and taxation of digital assets. Madam combines her academic expertise with practical insight to bridge the gap between legal theory and real world application. Without making you all wait further, I invite Madam Prakash to shed light on today's topic. Please, Madam, I am handing over this stage to you now.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gupta. Thank you so much, Dr. Gupta, Dr. Kalpesh Gupta, and Dr. Gaurav Gupta for giving me the opportunity to share my insights. Am I clearly audible and visible to all of you? Thank you
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much. Yeah. As we all know, why we are here to understand how artificial intelligence and other technological advancements are going to affect us in the legal, socio-legal, and the judicial realm. So, as we know, any technology, when it enters the life of a common person, it does not enter in isolation. Example, computerization in banking, computerization and digitization of payments, digitization of your voting processes. All these processes have impacted us largely in our lives. They have not impacted us in an isolated environment uh, to, the, to only one or two of us. It has impacted the entire population, and how even the PDS system, your rations, your pension schemes, all your public delivery of welfare schemes, to private, corporate, banking, all sorts of transactions are controlled by the digital structure. Now, with the automation being introduced in the past few years, we have another challenge in front of us. Till now, the technicalities were for the technical peoples, the technocrats and the engineers to deal with, and the public was on the user end. With advancement in artificial intelligence reaching our mobiles through various AIs, Chat GPT, Perplexity, DeepSeek, Grok, and the transformation and very quick transformation within about 2 years of hearing about Chat GPT or any AI being introduced in the market to actually having it on our phones has been absolutely quick. We call it a digital jump. But the last digital jump which we as a public witnessed was from computers, your PCs, to smartphones. That probably took about 10 to 15 years for a generation to learn how to use computers, and definitely then learning how to use smartphones. Right now, any individual with access to a smartphone, one, is required by the government to have access to such technology by spending money on your internet data packs. The government is giving you access to all your public utilities, say Aadhaar card, OTP systems, and registering for Aadhaar may be available on an app on Aadhaar, but to access it, it basically ordains you that you have access to internet by paying your own money, maintaining a telephone number which is controlled by the telecom operator regulations. So if you do not charge your phone for 90 days, recharge and get validity for 90 days, you lose your number. Once you lose your number, you lose your banking benefits, you lose your PDS benefits. So this process will be called techno-feudalism in a democracy. This is the theory side of it. Now coming back to how AI and all these agentic AIs will be impacting you is understanding that the socio-legal realm and the judicial realm is definitely going to impact us a little more than we had imagined. And studying now, when we look at it retrospectively, we will also know that it has always been the case. It was never up to the defendants or the prosecutors in the court of law to do the decision making about how you proceed with your arguments, or even on the jury metric side, on how the judiciary reacts to your arguments. I would also take the opportunity to thank Dr. Navdika Singh because she introduced the topic very well. When we had done Dr. Nautiyal's predictive justice session, I understand, I gather that half of you already would be able to recall that these are very similar themes I'm going to discuss today, taking her issue, I mean, her session forward itself. So when Madam discussed about exact LLM, the large language model, and how an AI works, I am not going to go back on it. I am going to proceed. So Madam talks about prediction. And now in today's session, when I'm discussing the risk, dangerousness of AI, I'm going to take it a step further and discuss the prevention, governance, the speculative features of AI, post-human legalism, and speculative jurisprudence and other features. So we have a few core questions here. First would be, how do we prevent misuse of risk assessment tools? Second question will be, who governs the algorithmic decision making in justice system? And third, how do we prepare for tech that doesn't yet exist? Because tomorrow you wake up and something new will be introduced. As lawyers, as researchers, and as practitioners of law, these are very pertinent questions in law. Because if there are no statutes guiding you, how do you approach them in the court of law and in legal theory both? As we know, risk assessment is not something new. Risk assessment will be by your statistical models. It can be done even without statistical models by socio-legal research. So it is political risk assessment also. When you do your psephology, say study your voting patterns. So risk is just not mathematical. It is a legal, political, and social risk also. Say tomorrow you wake up and you lose access to your phone number. So you lose access to your Aadhaar card, you lose access to various other facilities from the government. For a senior citizen, say they lose access to senior citizen benefits, they lose access to proof of birth, they will lose access to their passport applications, and so on and so forth. So your identity in the society right now in this techno-feudal democracy is strongly tied to your digital presence. Your digital presence is online copies of your identity by way of your Aadhaar and other social schemes, your telephone numbers to your banking, your vehicle insurance, everything has a digital copy. Also, uh, these digi lockers, so your educational documents are also a digital copy for anyone to access. In fact, not only the government, now even private players like LinkedIn, so you can have a verified profile in LinkedIn wherein you have to upload your documents and they verify it. So it is a third party player in the market which is going to verify your documents. Now I don't know, I still don't know the legality of this, but it is happening. Any of you would like to interject and question? I'm open to it, please. Yeah. So, yes. So now we move to the dangerousness and the risk assessment aspect in the Indian law. As I mentioned, that only when we are talking of AI, it is not something new that we have to discover. It has always existed in the legal system. So, since our law and legal system itself is a product of the colonial past, we can see that there was a Criminal Tribes Act. So there were entire communities habitually labeled as habitual offenders. So now this was also a system which the colonizers were following against the indigenous population by labeling us in different communities as habitual offenders. Now, on their in their defense, they were also doing a risk assessment. They probably found one or two or few cases in a particular community, and then for to save themselves, they labeled the entire community as offenders. Of course, it was repealed, and that is the other thing to understand. But I'm particularly here focusing on this because every government or every colonizer has its own reasons to do a certain risk assessment. It is just a matter of legal understanding. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but just for understanding them. And the National Security Act 1980. So we had preventive detention in our own country for up to 12 months. So this was also some kind of a risk assessment. If you found certain people to be uh, say mischief makers, or you could potentially be a dangerous criminal, no one knew. So it is an entire range in which they could do a complete preventive detention of an individual, suspension of your rights in society, in public, your individual freedoms. Everything could be suspended on a mere suspicion of risk in public safety. Unlawful activities, the UAPA. So it had bail denials. There were state level Gunda acts. And I'm keeping these examples very short. I'm not going to TADA and Makoka and the National Security Acts right now because they're very popular. Everyone knows. And in these cases, we have a judicial precedent also, which talks about risk assessment versus individual liberties. So, state of Rajasthan versus Balchan, 1977, says that bail is the rule and jail is the exception. But it doesn't happen like that. We have a large number of under trial population. So it clearly is not happening. In fact, to the extent that 2 years back, the CJI had to intervene and say that the lower courts are really not very keen on giving bail. And they are gathering up, all these bail applications are coming up to the high courts. So that is how it is. And Shaheen Welfare Association versus Union of India 1996, balancing liberty and security. In this context, if you want to explore further, please read Andrew Ashworth and Lucia Zedner. So they have written a lot about say, liberties vis-a-vis risk assessment in criminal jurisprudence. Can we move next, sir? Yeah. So after this, we move to AI tools for risk assessment. And why AI would be the game changer in these contexts. So since AI and computerization cannot be dealt separately in criminal justice, they are already embedded in the bail and parole and preventive detention rules, because there you let an individual, say the jailer or the other concerned authorities or the courts in that matter, am I audible now?
Yes, yes, you're audible, audible. Participant, please check your mic. Yes, negative. Yes, you're audible.
Yes, ma'am, audible.
Thank you. So we have rested those powers with a few individuals and authorities to judge whether an individual still has the potential of being a mischief maker or a hardcore criminal in society again or not. So your bail, your parole, your preventive detention, All these are deeply embedded in the system of assessing risk. Now, when we introduce an AI in this mix, where an individual is already going to take a decision based on his understanding, it might be correct or not, but you rest the power with certain authority. So, AI is going to scale those judgments. Scaling those judgments will be analyzing those judgments, taking out a pattern, making great databases, and segregating the population on basis of different categories. So what broad categories can we have? We are going to have age, sex, religion, caste, community, state, languages, color of the skin, individual features, cultural identity, and also interestingly to note, I have noticed this in bank forms, they also have started asking whether you have any political association or not. So maybe that could also be a category in your segregation via AI when you're taken in detention by jail authorities. So when you have categorization of an individual, then I am no more just a woman in front of the law. Then I'm a woman who belongs to a certain state, who speaks a certain language, has a certain ideology, has a certain political affiliation. It might make me more advantaged or it might make me disadvantaged. That depends on how you are going to train your algorithms to judge individuals. Say I'm someone from a marginalized community with less education, with not very great potential in public view, public eye. Say I haven't studied much, so I'm not of great use to the public. So will the AI call me, something of a lesser value? It may be true. It might not be true. We are not going to blame AI for it. We are going to understand, or we should rather understand, that AI is still under the use of certain individuals who will command it to act in a certain manner. So once you use very high computing power against individuals who have lost their agency in a democracy in front of law, then you are potentially handing out a very grave, dangerous data set to them, which they can manipulate in any manner they want. Next. So faster and harder to detect human bias becomes an algorithmic bias. See how humans are going to train and control AI will be seen. So key questions for India is now, can AI improve fairness or will it harden discriminatory patterns? As I just said, we really don't know. And we certainly hope that it does not become the danger it is shown to be. That is the risk associated with AI. When you're giving so much power to a computing system, you really don't know how it is going to react and what people behind those systems act like, you know. And sir, can we move next? Yes. So in the international view, we'll just understand when you're talking of risk assessment and AI right now. So we'll not only consider AI as it is, as we know from Chat GPT onwards, we will also consider heavy computing via great statistical models, also AI. So the first wave was in 1990s, 2000s. It was a rule-based actuarial model. Actuarial models are statistical models. And the second wave, which basically gave us what we have right now, was machine learning based tools, ML based tools with socioeconomic and demographic data. So now when you add such datas with already existing data of people who are delinquent in the eyes of law or who are against the law or on the other side of the law, it becomes a very dangerous mix. So I think we have already done in previous session Compass, Heart and PSAs, and they have their own issues. So Compass has a racial bias controversy where it is going to identify people of certain color. It is going to identify people of certain physical features based on their communities and from where their origin is. HART in the UK, the HART system, is a police custody risk scoring mechanism. So that also basically looks at recidivism risk. And they are trying to, and they have been actually, they're placing the responsibility of controlling crime and controlling repetition of crime with the offenders itself, and not in the rehabilitatory manner which probably India has been doing. And then you have the PSA systems in US, the public safety assessment systems. So PSA systems are bail systems. So their bail system has been automated to a very large extent, especially for lesser crimes. The minor crimes we talk of. The larger crimes are still being handled by the ordinary judicial system which they already have. So on this, if you want to read, please read Julia Dressel, Hanny Farrett, Daniel Citron, and Virginia Eubanks. They are very helpful for understanding these issues. So can we move ahead? Yeah. Oh, just a sec. Yeah. So the concerns for using AI in judicial decision making, especially for criminal context, is data quality, how you are collecting your data in a country which is infra challenged in a way where you don't have computerization to 100%, when you don't have electrification 100%, when you don't have internet access 100%, you really don't know what kind of data set are you getting. It can be incomplete, it can be biased, and it can be completely manipulated also. Then there is no statutory regulations yet for criminal justice and AI world over, not only in the US, UK, or European countries, but not even in India or other emerging economies. Then there is a risk of automation bias. So judges accepting AI scores without questioning them at all. So this is a question for thought, food for thought. What exactly happens when you have an AI computer with the judges who are which is helping, or rather prompting the judges to make certain decisions and not take certain decisions? So you really don't know what happens. Are the judges going to are they going to get affected by it? Are they going to completely ignore it? Are they going to get affected by it to a certain extent? Are they going to rely on it for certain hard days? Or are they going to use it with their emotional intelligence and quotient? We don't know. And these are questions to which we will possibly only have answers in the future. So, in the Indian context for risk assessment and preventive policing activities, you have the CCTNS system, and yeah, so they have been integrating police record, and there are about 15,000 police stations which have been integrated via this network. But still, we are not at a stage where all the police records are digitized, where a simple complaint to an FIR to a charge sheet conversion is not available to the public or the complainant or the judiciary also in a timely manner on a digital platform. We have a very wide network of policing in the country, and it will be a challenge, and it is definitely an ongoing challenge also for them to completely digitize all this. So that is going to be a problem. Then you have the ICJS pilot project, which is still running, and I'm sure some of you might have great idea about it if you're teaching criminal law. We are trying to link the police, the courts, the prison, the prosecution, and the forensics. So when you bring all these in a network, what happens is that your trial processes, your appearances in court, and all other following judicial processes become smooth. And these are exactly the challenges which you face as a practitioner when you go and you don't really know whether the prosecution has access to these or not, whether the defendant has these or not, what happens to the witness, what happens to the witness protection. And these are only questions asked and answered during hearings when the judge is putting them across. We are trying via ICJS, which is a very ambitious and great project, to bring all these at power. Now, at par, sorry. And when we tried this, there was nothing called AI in the country. So when we tried it, it was a mere computerization, digitization project, and now it will be integrated with AI tools, of course. So we have to see how the ICJS also turns out. Then you have the facial recognition pilots, which are running in Hyderabad. The Cyberabad police area is almost successfully doing it. The Delhi police have been claiming to do it, and to a large extent also. And small example of it will be seen nowadays, since you see so many CCTV footages of accidents, of any untoward accident or something funny also. So there is so much camera network being established that a lot of things come in the view. And there are certain things which are completely unbelievable. They kind of baffle you. You would not believe them if you've not seen them on camera, on the recordings. So that can also, of course, it has its own potential for misuse. It has potential for surveillance. We might be called a surveillance state if we have too many cameras doing AI facial recognition all the time. But these are things to be studied and seen. So exactly, the gaps will be no statutory regulation for AI in justice and the risk of automation bias judicial decisions, as we discussed earlier. So can we move forward, please? Yes. So then we discuss governance and transparency. So there is something called a black box challenge. Proprietary, okay. So we understand what is a black box, right? Something which is so dark that something goes in and we cannot figure out what exactly it is. And we cannot predict what is the outcome of it. So a black box challenge will be, say, a proprietary algorithm being used against you for your surveillance. But you cannot challenge it in court because those technologies will also be protected by other regimes and they would be something like a trade secret. For example, I'm okay, the most common example in the country will be something called your credit score. Now, how many of us know who is the authority or which is the company doing our credit score work? Can you raise your hands? Yes, sir. CIBIL is doing it, but which is the authority which is giving it the right to do it? And what is the formula they are trying to impose on us? Is there a government regulation which tells you that you will be judged on the basis of your credit score? Then why is not the RBI doing it for us? We'll take it up at the end of this session. But say authority, right, sir? Credit Information Act of 2015 is fine. I'm trying to understand from your perspective and my perspective also that the risk associated by outsourcing, yes, by outsourcing something which will affect a large population in the country for their access to loans, Yes, I'm addressing that only, Toshan sir. So, our government has outsourced a very large data set of individuals who are accessing banking in the country via nationalized and private sector banks. That kind of data set is out there in the public, may or may not be via different statutes, but it is a private autonomous authority which is deciding your right to avail further facilities from government or private sector banks, and which ranks you on a number. So that is one. Second, do we remember the Pegasus issue? Yeah. So there can be or there cannot be something like a Pegasus, or something much more dangerous, which you cannot take to court. Or maybe if even if you take to court, you do not know exactly who to make the defendant. Dr. Vidisha, if it is not outsourced, then is the RBI doing it? No, it is a private company which is doing it. It is a private organization which is handling your credit score. Yeah. So, yeah, there is a very important case in this regard. When we do Compass, it is State versus Loomis. It is a case from the state of Wisconsin in US, and it upheld that Compass be warned against sole reliance. So these are different landmark judgments in cases and matters relating to use of AI, or the AI use case in criminal justice system in the US. And then we come to other international frameworks. You have the EU AI Act, the European Union Artificial Intelligence Act 2024, which, of course, it's a big, huge act. You can go through it, but it makes the category for justice AI an absolutely high risk category. So use of AI in different categories and use cases have been listed, and this comes as extremely high risk. That is why we are also discussing it. So Canada's automated decision-making directive in 2019 came, Singapore's model AI governance frameworks in 2020, and in India we have DPDP Act, the DPDT Act 2023, on which certain regulations and rules are still being formulated and debated. So it is excluding certain law enforcement functions out of the act. So the state still wants to control the surveillance or the automated judicial processes against individuals on the other side of the law. And you don't know when you are on the other side of law. So for simplistic understanding, it is against the whole population at large. You don't know whether you will only be assessed via AI enabled legal system when you have killed someone. You don't have to be a murderer. You can be a mere traffic violator. You can be a pickpocket. You can be a violator of very simple rules, say smoking in public. So you really don't know when and where and how AI induced algorithms are going to be used against you, and you are being pulled in that black hole in a way. Yeah. So important scholars for this will be Frank Pascal and Carrie Conglianese. Please note and refer and study further. So can we move to the next slide, please? Yes. So another very important aspect of AI we have to study in conjunction with the criminal justice and public safety is mental health and risk assessment. So the traditional tools. Delhi police started CMAPs. Yes, absolutely. Abhimanyu, sir, it has been used. That's what I said. Telangana has a system and Delhi also has a system. But I'm talking about how it can go wrong. Of course, it is being used. I didn't say it is not being used. Yeah. So we are talking about mental health and risk assessment. So there are certain mental health tools used in psychiatry, which is HCR 20. It has been, it started in Canada in the 1990s. HCR means historical clinical risk. And VRAG system, VRAG is violence risk appraisal guide, the VRAG. So HCR and VRAG systems are both which are used for actuarial violence risk guide. These are statistical models to predict violent behavior. So this again is a pre-AI tool using statistics for risk assessment. But right now, the problem is the problem which is going to arise in the future also, that AI has been integrated in the statistical models. So by combining the psychiatric tools, by using IoT, the Internet of Things, which is the precursor of artificial intelligence, and using social media data, they are doing a predictive profiling of mental states. So when you're combining someone's psychiatric data or mental health data with their digital footprint, their social media activities, and also another category of traceables is your wearable watches. Something like a smartwatch, some this smartwatch which basically captures your entire biological profile, how long you're sleeping, when you're waking up, when you're talking, not talking, your heart rate, whatever. So these are all combined together and making a predictive profile of an individual. So basic ethical issue is that it is invasion of complete privacy of an individual as a patient, as in member of the society. Next problem is that it basically emphasizes more on predictive behavior policing rather than help of the patient who is a psychiatric case. He might be potentially violent, but the psychiatrists were in a controlled environment doing predictive violence assessment. Now you have labeled and potentially being given them a label for criminal activities. So these will be over pathologizing dissent, the breach of medical confidentiality, algorithmic determinism, and also with this, I think 2 days back, I cannot recollect which country, but I just read it. I think I should have gone back to it. That I think the US has passed this law which states that medical advice will not be valid given by AI, because a lot of hospitals had started using AI in assessment of patients. So they had started giving ratings to patients whether they would survive or not. So say if a 90-year-old goes with a heart attack and a young person goes with a fracture, they would still, the AI system would still insist that the treatment should be given to the younger person first, because the younger person has more potential life left for him, and a 90-year-old with a heart attack perhaps has 5 to 10 years only to live, or maybe a year or two. So those kind of decisions which had great ethical implications were being carried out in large systems in hospitals and by insurance companies in US. So they said that they are not going to use AI models for hospital work. Again, so key scholars here will be Martha Feynman and Thomas Douglas. Please go ahead and review. Sir, can we move next? Yeah, so future of AI agents in justice system. First stage will be decision support. So the AI would be ready to assist the judges. Example, there are two language models already in use in the Supreme Court of the country. One is a live transcribing model where all these spoken words in the court of law by judges, by lawyers, by defendants, everyone is being live transcribed. Second is a live translation software being used where, because we know that we have people approaching the Supreme Court from everywhere in the country and not everyone is conversant in English. So you have live conversion going on into all languages, whichever the defendant feels like. So I think that is a very good approach when you bring everyone at par. Next is semi-autonomous roles of AI in judicial system. When AI will draft the order and minimal review will be involved. Say, court of small causes or a court dealing with certain limit of claim, say up to 1,000 rupees or a 2,000 rupee, something like that may be introduced and may be still adjunctated by the judges. And the third stage will be the fully autonomous stage, where AI adjudicates the cases and judges are mere referees, perhaps. So, examples in Estonia, small European country, but very advanced. They are one of the pioneers in electronic governance and now AI also. AI for small claims. So since 2019, as I mentioned, they're using AI enabled models for adjudicating small claims. In China, again, small courts. Hangzhou example is very popular. You can read about it. So they have automated ticketing system for small claims. You go there and you pay and you move. So there is no human interaction involved. In India, also there is a e-courts phase, which is not something new. We have had this for about a decade, I would say, where you had, introduction of computers, digitization of records. Uh, when you started seeing laptops in courtrooms, mid 2000s, that is where this e-courts phase had started. So there is a focus on digitization, computerization, and automation, but no AI adjudication has started in India yet. So we are possibly still on stage zero. And I think it's a good thing till we figure out how to go about it. We are not on stage one, two, or three anywhere. On this issue, please read more if you want to. Mirel Hiddelbart and Richard Susskind. So next slide, please. Yes, this is interesting. On a theory perspective, we can see we have speculative jurisprudence in AI. So definition of speculative jurisprudence is legal foresight for not yet existent scenarios. We are going to have various scenarios where we don't know how it will be adjudicated. And see, the application will be AI personhood laws. So like you have in jurisprudence, when you do this, what do you call this, Solomon versus Solomon case, the lifting of the corporate wheel. So when you do lifting of the corporate wheel, you understand how legality will be ascribed to a non-living being or how a juristic person is made. So when the AI law regime comes about, we will be in a position to understand how we are going to label AI individuals, a robot, a drone, an AI agent which already exists in your phone, or could be multiple AI agents representing a single person, or could be thousands and lakhs of AI agents making decisions representing large companies, say a company of the size of TCS or Infosys or Tata something, they already have automations. Okay. And when they're doing these layoffs, maybe if there are certain agents which are prompting them to do certain assessments of employees and doing the layoff, can you take those AI agents to court? Can you challenge the algorithm by which you were shown to be inefficient in comparison to your peer? Tomorrow, if I go and appear for an interview and another person does, we know that there are certain parameters set by the API community for teaching. When I go for a private interview in a company or something, they are going to judge me on my drafting skills or how many cases I have worked on, what is my field, what is my knowledge, what colleges. But when you derive this data and you mix this data with your demographic data, and then you let a human interference in it change it and churn that data for their livelihood and their profitability, how am I going to ever be one in the correct know how I am being judged, and second, how will I ever be in a position to challenge it if something goes wrong? If I'm happy with it, I get the job, it's fine. If I get to retain my job, it is fine. But if it is against me, it is not a government job that I go to a court. I cannot go to an administrative tribunal. It is not an income tax filing issue that I go to ITAT. It is something which has impacted me via computers and AI agents. And right now, we don't know who is going to adjudicate these issues. Then liability for autonomous decisions. Again, how I explained, same issues. Then you have virtual jurisdiction rules. Also, uh, yeah, something happens online. So you right now we have a cyber crimes department, right? But to what extent do you have a jurisdiction via cyber crimes department in the country? If there is someone sitting outside the country using a VPN, a virtual private network, giving me a threat of killing me, a simple IPC or new BNS case can be made. If someone comes up to my house and threatens me, then I know what sections will be used. The policeman also knows to help me what sections to be used. Someone threatens me online sitting in some other country via third party app, threatening to harm me, threatening to virtually damage me, threatening to hack my bank accounts. We really don't know what is the jurisdiction going to be. So we should wait and see what happens and what laws we come up with. Say this AI question has been put up. Say if there is a CCTV and CCTV gets an agentic AI installed in it and it starts interacting with you, uh, which is a possibility even now if you do it. And if AI becomes a witness to a murder trial, or if there is someone who has confessed a crime to an AI agent, this is also a possibility because people are using AI for therapy also. They are confessing issues with AI. They are taking help on their personal front, their legal front, their professional front. We don't really know what happens in these cases. So, also see predicting descent probability for an entire district here means area, a community, you know. So we don't really know how AI is going to potentially be of use or be of no use or is going to be of misuse in these cases. So can we move forward? Yeah. So emerging technologies and dangerousness. So AI is just not chat GPT. AI is a lot of other things which we have to keep in mind and study. From your wearable watches, the data prediction in them, to your social media data, to your banking data, to your extremely confidential data, we have understood. Now the next step is Neuralink, cyborgs. the Transformers and cyborgs, for kids who grew up in 80s and 90s, it was the ultimate future. And it is almost here. We have autonomous driving vehicles, which I don't know, we could have never thought of, but it is a reality and they are running. So now it might just be a reality that you have a chip implant which is going to control your mind. Also, this is not something too far in the future. There are already people who are, say, paralyzed or who are challenged by certain manners, and computer systems have been given to them. Stephen Hawking was someone like that. He could talk to people because he had those implants and access to technology via bioengineering. So this is a fantastic use case of bioengineering for people who are in need. But Neuralinks claims and wants to basically put chips here so that your thought process can be used, manufactured, controlled, manipulated. We don't know what exactly is going to happen, but this is happening. Also, there was a company in Switzerland which implanted chips here to people here. Okay. So, this thing, whatever it is, this fingerprint system is very common now, this bio attendance. Okay. It's almost at every college and offices now. You go put your fingerprint and you get access. That is your attendance also. But these guys, they put some chips here so that even that pressing of this thing was not required. So you could just move in and out of offices and the chip made your attendance on that computer record. Now, this is a small use case, which was a very specific one. But if it is a chipset here in your body, can it not be programmed for something else? Can it not be programmed to steal your data? Can it not be programmed to, say, use your credit card data like this? We cannot think like so-called criminals and we do not have deviant tendencies, or we are not probably creative enough. I'm going to take both sides here. We don't really know what is going to happen, how it will happen, how it turns out in the future. But this is how it is. So yes, in case of genetics also, with the technologies in the biotech sector, with the IVF technologies, and it has come to the point, from a simple test tube baby, now we have children born from three parents. So genetic data has been derived from three parents. And of course, AI is used in it. AI is definitely used in such cases. Your genes manipulation, this huge data set of genes is, of course, analyzed by AI only. You do not have any other technology which is doing it. And then you have these biotech genetic markers, eugenics research. Eugenics is that science of creating better approach. Just give me a sec. I'm sorry, there's a power cut. I was just reducing lights. Yeah. So these are also the risks involved where you have cutting edge technology in other sectors combined with cutting edge AI available to you. And then you have simple surveillance issues, IoT and smart cities in Hyderabad. It has a command center. They use it. China has a Skynet. China's facial recognition technology and their use of complete surveillance is a matter of grave concern as well as amazement. If it helps them in crime control, good for them, but it definitely messes with your idea of civil liberty and surveillance state. Yeah. And then, yes, US also has a short spotter program. So that is a controversy. On these issues, you may read scholars Shoshana Zuboff and Bart Kusslers. So can we move forward? Because I think it's almost 8. We need to come back to issues. Yeah. So next will be post-human legalism in a techno-feudal democracy. Post-human legalism simply means law for humans and AI and hybrids. As we discussed previously, there are going to be hybrids. There could be AI agents requiring, uh, assignment of juristic personalities, and there has to be law for humans. The concept will be, you know, platform will be used as feudal lords, and citizens would be data serf. We will be the data is the new oil, right? So the next wars will be won by countries which are rich in resources of renewable energy and data. Yeah, no, not one, but yeah, renewable energy and data. It has moved from the industrial ages of only energy rich countries being powerful. No. And the theories for these I have mentioned, you may read. The risk involved in these, a techno-feudal democracy like ours or China will be AI dangerousness scores used for political exclusions. And it should not come as a surprise where political exclusion can be done in any manner. We have a issue going on currently also in our country in front of court. The sub judice, I will refrain from commenting, but these issues are going on, we all know. And AI dangerousness scores, you might be assigned a particular score like in Black Mirror. And these scores may be instrumental in assessing your uh, position in the society, in front of the government, in front of the law, everywhere. Then you have sovereignty conflicts, constitutional law versus platform governance. Simple enough, we all understand. There will be an issue of understanding how it will operate and how sovereignty affects and how sovereignty would persist if there is a cyber governance or a techno feudal model of governance in the country. You can read Indian IT rules, you can read EU Digital Service Act for more comparative insights on these issues. So, can we move forward? Yes. So, sir, it is about 8 o'clock. Can we open this for others?
I think this last slide. I don't know. I need to check it out.
I think, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. These are all questions. Yeah. So now I want to discuss the last 15 minutes.
yeah, you can cover maybe in a couple of minutes and then we'll open this key takeaways if you want.
Okay. Dangerousness is embedded in Indian law. Uh, as we see, understanding of risk assessment has been different previously, different right now, and it will change with the advent and more advancement in AI, and how AI and judicial paradigms will overlap and intertwine. We are yet to see what happens. And yeah, one point I forgot to mention. I wanted to discuss about drones also. So we have to give uh, drones in warfare also their due importance. We don't really know how we are going to treat those. Are they going to be considered only machines? Will they be weapons, or will they be considered hybrids because they have a brain of their own if they are being used via AI technology? They're not mere weapons. They're computerized hybrids. Yeah. So dangerousness is embedded in Indian law. AI will transform it. It will not be able to replace it. Governance and transparency are non-negotiable. Mental health data in AI needs high safeguards. Not only in mental health, but yeah, all your health data, insurance, pharmacy, pharmacology, all these data. Speculative jurisprudence will be future proofing the law. So right now we can have speculative judicial activity Like we are studying AI right now. This is also speculative jurisprudence. Post-human legalism demands constitutional imagination. So that has to be done quickly and should be definitely done. Yeah.
I think there is no question in chat box. Dear participant, please drop your question in your chat box.
Yes, one participant wanted to ask question. Sorry, there's no name. Our name is iPhone. So
Yes, please, iPhone, please say the question.
yes, please. Sorry, we have to call out this way only. Yes.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, ma'am. So, thank you for the panel. Thank you for enlightening us. It was really, I mean, don't take me that I was like differing with you or in disagreement with you. This was just to, I mean, carry forward the conversation that there is an act, that apart. That is not the context of my question. So, it's like I'll just take 3 to 4 minutes. Uh, do we really need to fear AI at this moment? That's because why I say so, because I've already researched on my research thesis has already been accepted. I've been conferred a degree on the basis of that.
Yeah. Sorry, can you
And
introduce yourself so we also can get to know?
I am just Sundar Singh.
Okay.
I've just completed my PhD in India with Maharaja Agar Singh University. So the topic was like the regulation of AI and blockchain technologies. The laws were all tested, the laws which are tested were all in the Indian domain. Of course, the constants were the global laws, the variable points were the Indian laws. So in my research thesis, because I think we do not need to fear AI at this point of time. Why do I say so? I always say that AI is more of an analytical tool. I may be going beyond the call now, but I don't think the agentic AI is going to achieve, I mean, even excellence. What to say about the optimum level? It is not going to achieve excellence because there might be, at least for our country. And I would also say that if for all the participants here, an amalgamation of IT Act, the DDPA Act, and a certain understanding of GDPR, not the the European Union AI Act, will put everything to rest. And the reason is because all these things, because that was there already, it's discussed by one of the honorable panelists. These are actually it is the smart contracts which make everything come into being. So once we have the understanding of what actually the smart contract can actually be controlled. I mean, it can actually have the control and regulated by our own. I mean, the Indian Contract Act. There is nothing like. I mean, even the the Parliamentary Committee of the United Kingdom has said that the smart contracts for their regulation, the UK Contract Act, whatever it is, that the codified, little codified in the common law, of course, are the judgments. The codified law does not at all need amendment. So we picked our contract act from the UK Act. So it is like, of course, the horror may be staring us at the in near future, but I always understand these technologies as they'll keep coming because if there is no end to it. If it is today AI, just correct me. If it is today AI, or maybe tomorrow it will be something else. Because the technological world has to thrive upon something. जिसको बोलते हैं ना, उन्होंने अपना they have to make their money. Earlier it was the dot-com business which was like booming when in 1999. It was the Y2K problem, if anybody can understand that computers are going to shut down. They'll shut down overnight. They'll shut down overnight because the data is not going to accept the date. Then came the dot-com bubble, that all these shops will be raised to ground. Everything will be online. Same is the case. See, AGI, agentic AI, nobody is going to get into their pocket. Some person has some intellectual, some entrepreneur has made a car which is operating very good. Some medical equipment would be made very good. Of course, yes. The wars, the main issue was the wars, the data for the wars. If we just understand the paradigm of AI as of today. So judicial system, I don't think it is going to be affected because At the end of the day, the Digital Data Protection Act and the IT Act have empowered the citizenry to such an extent, if anybody goes deep into it, to such an extent that even if tomorrow or today even an AI powered system, empowered system is introduced into any kind of an adjudicatory system, and it is like a citizen has to challenge that adjudication, those provisions are there itself. Because he can, because once an AI system is to be employed, a word of caution and an information, the citizen has to be informed about it, that that your cause will be adjudicated, or some part of your cause will be adjudicated by the AI system. And DDPA Act and IT Act in itself, they have the provisions for the citizen to say that, no, I don't want to opt for it. And then the Constitution, Article 20, 21, and of course, Article 19, parts of Article 19 will come into play. Because of course, for like ma'am said, that is like absolutely true for the bail provisions, because there is a talk about in the judicial system now about the bail provisions of bail, the small causes. There, if of course I'm given a traffic ticket, I'm given a traffic challan, today I can go before a judicial magistrate and say that yes, I had not violated the violation, I have not committed the violation for which this traffic challan or the ticket has been issued to me. But when it comes into play, I'll be at the mercy of the algorithms or whatever things would be employed within these softwares, you know. That of course is one concern. But I mean, as a fraternity of lawyers, I understand that some way or the other in the near future, something would be like dwelt upon, and even that could be challenged and like reached to a conclusive end one way or the other, you know. So that was just my question is, do we really need to fear AI? Because we are not, and my question has always been, first of all, let's understand what AI in today's domain is, then rather than fearing it, you know. Am I correct in my approach? I just want to understand this. Am I correct in my approach? I'm trying to correct myself even.
Perfect.
So you are
Thank you very much.
absolutely correct in your approach. I do not want to challenge it, but I have something to add on to it. Whatever you had spoken about, I completely agree with it. But it is more of heavy theory and less on the practical side for an individual who is a layman to law. Okay, so my approach to this lecture was not purely legal, it was legal, social, slightly technical also, but keeping it very basic for even people of our standard who are at least a bachelor's and master's in law to understand if we have to make these concepts replay these concepts to young students or people outside the legal system. Okay, my approach was slightly different from your approach. You are taking the correct exam, the GDPR and the EU Act and what I completely understand, and smart contracts definitely. But tell me, how many of us are actually in a position to read smart contracts? Every day we do so many tick boxes to download certain applications, certain softwares. You know, there cannot be a blanket understanding that everyone will be in a position, even the government, even even if the government regulates the smart contracts, we will still be in a capitalist market, prey to the capitalist forces and less protected by the government. Okay, my position is not purely legal, please understand, don't judge me only on that, and my position is slightly different in the society. Because if I'm here to train people who are already teaching and as a practitioner and not as a regular faculty, my approach will be slightly different. And second, when you said, do we really need to fear AI? I would say don't have an unreasonable amount of fear of AI, but have a fear of AI. AI is the technology. It is not there to only help you revolutionize your research, your writing, your data analysis, your preparations of your PPTs, this and that. It is basically giving power and anonymity to people. The power and anonymity coupled with the VPN networks is a dangerous mix. Something like AI being given to someone who knows how to hack, who knows how to access stuff. I'm talking of the dangerousness level here. I'm not talking the legality, how we are going to prosecute him, how we are going to stop the criminal or the criminal mind, so called, if we go by the definition, will definitely always find a way to crack open all these. And we cannot forget the incident in which country? Portugal, I guess. Lebanon or Portugal. Sorry. Lebanon or Portugal, when Israel captured technical data of those pagers lying in the pockets of individuals in a entirely different countries. It was a very large model of espionage, of technical know-how, and whether you call it warfare or terrorism, up to you, that's your political stand. But then they could do that damage. So, of course, AI is not only dangerous or beneficial to individuals, it is as dangerous and beneficial for governments, for armies, of other dissent groups, and different communities and class of people across the world. And when we are talking of how dangerous it can be, what is the predictive outcome of such technology, what is the effective outcome, what is the standard of adaptation of this technology, we cannot forget something very important here, that certain technologies are imposed on you. I really want to challenge a few things. Okay. I want to challenge the right of living without internet in this country. I want to challenge the right of not having to, I want to challenge the OTP system. I don't want to give OTPs to everyone. I don't want to have my phone number linked to the bank. I want to have an ordinary system. I want to go and take ration on my old book. I don't want digitization of ration. I don't want so many, techno issues involved with my degrees and data. I don't want to carry a digital smart card. I don't want to have a chip inserted in my driving license. I don't want to be monitored. But can I challenge it? Of course, I can challenge it. But will it be sustainable? I don't know. You also don't know. As practitioners and theorists and researchers and teachers of law, these are all questions to us. So again, Sorry, Mr. iPhone, I don't know if I am right, you are wrong. I think we are all correct here, and we all have different opinions. It is how we look at technology. I have a slightly tech savvy mind. I appreciate technology with absolute understanding of danger. Every photograph I click in my phone is also dangerous because it carries my footprint of that particular location. Every photograph I upload on Facebook can be traced back to a location I have uploaded it on. Every time I access internet from my home, my digital footprint is all over. Every time I'm recording here, I will be recorded and this video is forever. If I had done some mistake here, if I've taken some wrong name, if I've said something inappropriate against a government, for a government, I don't know. But this digital footprint is never going to leave me. What if tomorrow we are all rounded up because we were discussing something which is tomorrow not considered good enough for public safety? What if we should not have named Israel? What if we should not have discussed those issues? We don't know. So you're not audible to me. Mr. Gupta, are you talking?
No, no, I'm just noting.
Okay, sorry.
No, no, you're direct
Yeah.
running from this question. Yes,
Yeah.
over to Gaurav.
There are a lot of notes here. I'm sorry. Can we read them?
Sorry, we already it's 8:15, so we need to close now.
Can we
Yes,
take
Gaurav, over
5 minutes
to.
and just finish it if they have really? I think AI will definitely improve justice system and people will get some justice. Justice delayed, justice denied will change. Hopefully, let's hope. Let's hope. We should hope. We don't have centralized redressal or traffic e-challan. Yes, absolutely. We don't have one authority giving driving license in the country. How can you have a simple e-challan? We have multiple authorities and people have driving licenses from several states also. I know so many of them. Thank you, Mr. iPhone. AI risk assessment tools fall short in predicting long-term societal dangers. I don't know. I don't. I really don't know. I don't know how it will fall short. It was certainly very dangerous to have it in the wrong hands though. Indian judiciary, no, it is ready to take up. What will happen is the higher authorities, the higher judiciary will take it up, adapt, but it will be a very long time before the lower judiciary comes to that level. It will be very difficult. And Puttu Swami, yes, Mr. iPhone, sir. We should, yes, Puttu Swami was sure, right to privacy, yes. Thank you. Whether AI could steal, AI definitely steals your data. Every day they are updating contracts of data, AI. Just open Chat GPT and read terms one day. Every day they are changing. Yeah, everything you put on AI, all those pictures, there was a huge scandal that your Ghibli portraits, every time you're putting, you're basically giving them a very large data set of faces. AI is stealing your data, yeah. If you call it data steal, they basically call it data harvesting, data mining, data farming. There are a lot of new terminology associated with data. And we have government using AI-based surveillance tech without having effective protect. Can we have government? Yeah, government has a AI-based surveillance system and we don't have effective protection. We are done.
Okay, ma'am, shall we conclude?
Tell me.
Sorry, participant, no more question can be taken. Sorry for this. Maybe times. Over to you, Gaurav.
Okay. Okay. It is said that identifying the problem is half the solution, and prevention is always better than cure. In this reference, Madam Akanksha Prakash shed light on the how misuse of risk assessment tool can be prevented, and how AI plays its role in the justice delivery system, and how we can prepare ourselves for those challenges in the coming time. Thank you, madam, for this informative and thought-provoking session today. I'm sure this session would have been successful in adding new dimension to the subject knowledge of our participants. And it will prove further fruitful further for those who are more interested in this subject and want to do further research. Along with this, I would also like to thank our participants for that. They not only participated in a good number, but also made today's session meaningful with their active listening and participation. Dear participants, tomorrow we will again gather at the scheduled time to brainstorm on a specific topic. Thank you all again.
Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good night.
Over to you, Sankalpe sir.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you. Thank you very much. Yes.